Have you ever wondered how our deepest passions and desires can influence our peace of mind and inner peace? Today we will delve into a topic that is often surrounded by taboos and misunderstandings, but at the same time is a driving force in the lives of many, the sex. Before we begin, I would like to tell you that in this video we will not try to improve your sex life, but to do something much more important and valuable that outweighs having sex. The points we are going to develop below will surely help you transform your perspective on sex. It's a topic that can be controversial in a society that glorifies the unbridled pursuit of pleasure, but I want to invite you to explore the benefits and necessity of this practice from a personal and motivating perspective. In our modern world, we are constantly bombarded with messages urging us to seek instant gratification and fleeting pleasure. However, as Stoic women, we know that true happiness and fulfillment are not found in momentary pleasures, but in developing our inner strength and living by our deepest values. Let's begin by exploring the benefits of conscious abstinence from a Stoic perspective. Stoic philosophy teaches us that we can control our actions and decisions, and that self-control is fundamental to achieving true freedom and inner peace. By practicing mindful abstinence, we exercise our self-control muscle, strengthening ourselves as individuals and cultivating greater mental discipline. Let me highlight three main benefits of practicing conscious abstinence in our sexual lives. Number 1. Self-control and inner strength. The first key point is the self-control and inner strength we cultivate by practicing conscious abstinence in our sexual activities. The ability to resist our momentary impulses and make decisions based on reason and virtue is fundamental to Stoic philosophy. By exercising this self-control, we strengthen our will and become stronger, more focused women. Instead of being driven by our passing desires, we learn to master our emotions and act with wisdom and discernment. Number 2. Mental clarity and inner peace. Another outstanding benefit of conscious abstinence is the mental clarity and inner peace we experience. When we free ourselves from the constant desire for sexual gratification, our minds become more serene and focused. We find ourselves less distracted by intrusive thoughts and more able to concentrate on our higher goals and purposes. This mental clarity allows us to make better decisions in all areas of our lives and gives us a sense of inner calm and balance. Number 3. Self-discovery and self-transcendence. Finally, practicing conscious abstinence from sex provides us with the opportunity to embark on a profound journey of self-discovery and self-transcendence. By freeing ourselves from dependence on sexual gratification, we explore deeper aspects of our identity and connect with our most authentic essence. We discover that our worth and happiness do not depend on satisfying ephemeral desires, but on living in harmony with our deepest values and principles. This process of self-transcendence leads us to a state of fulfillment that goes beyond the limitations of sexual desire. But what are the pros and cons of this practice? On the one hand, abstaining from sex can give us a sense of freedom and self-mastery. It allows us to make conscious decisions that are aligned with our values, rather than being driven by momentary desires or external pressures. It also protects us from possible unintended consequences, such as unplanned pregnancies or sexually transmitted diseases. However, it is important to recognize that conscious abstinence can also present challenges. In a society that often links personal value with sexual activity, abstaining can lead to feelings of alienation or discomfort. Moreover, it can be difficult to resist social pressure or individual temptations, especially in a hypersexualized world such as ours. Imagine a wise and strong woman, imbued with the teachings of Stoic philosophy. Let us first see how this weapon called sex can become our undoing. I want to share with you a profound and thoughtful story about a Stoic woman whose sexual activities led her down a path of perdition. This woman was a seeker of virtue, a believer in the power of self-control and moderation. Yet despite her deep knowledge and understanding of these principles, she succumbed to carnal desires that led her down a dark and tortuous path. In her quest for pleasure and gratification, this woman allowed her sexual impulses to dominate her reason and judgment. She indulged in passionate encounters without considering the long-term consequences of her actions. Instead of exercising self-control and restraint, she indulged in lust and indulgence, mistakenly believing that she would find satisfaction and happiness in the fleeting pleasures of unbridled sex. Eventually, this woman found herself trapped in an endless cycle of insatiable desires. Each sexual encounter only served to feed her need for more, leaving her empty and desperate for satisfaction that never came. Her obsession with sex consumed her completely, distorting her worldview and separating her from her Stoic values and principles. As she succumbed more and more to her urges, this woman experienced a deep sense of emptiness and despair. She realized that her actions had distanced her from her true self and the inner serenity she longed for. Although she sought happiness and pleasure in her sexual encounters, she found only unhappiness and regret. Finally, this woman reached a breaking point. She faced the painful truth that her desires had led her to perdition, separating her from her true essence and the inner peace she longed for. In an act of courage and determination, she decided to return to the Stoic principles she had once abandoned. She vowed to exercise self-control and restraint in all areas of her life, including her sexual activities. As she began her journey back to virtue, this woman experienced a profound and significant transformation. She learned to find satisfaction and fulfillment in moderation and sobriety, rather than seeking it in the fleeting pleasures of unrestrained sex. She discovered that by living by his Stoic values and principles, he found an inner peace he had never experienced before. Dear friends, the story of this Stoic woman teaches us valuable lessons about the power of self-control, moderation, and the importance of living according to our deepest principles. It reminds us that our desires may be powerful, but they should not control us. By exercising self-control and moderation in all areas of our lives, including our sexual activities, we can find greater satisfaction and fulfillment in our lives. I urge you to reflect on your own actions and desires, and to consider how they may be affecting your long-term well-being and happiness. Remember that true happiness is not found in instant gratification, but in living in accordance with our deepest values and principles. In doing so, we can find the inner peace and serenity we so long for, and live fuller and more meaningful lives in harmony with Stoic philosophy. I want to remind you that the practice of conscious abstinence also brings with it a number of emotional and spiritual benefits. By abstaining from sex, we can cultivate greater self-esteem and self-love, freeing us from emotional dependence on others for our happiness and fulfillment. It also gives us the opportunity to focus on developing deeper and more meaningful emotional relationships based on trust, respect, and genuine connection. I want to encourage you to view mindful abstinence as a form of personal empowerment and self-discovery. It is an opportunity to explore your own inner strength and to live in harmony with your deepest values and principles. By practicing mindful abstinence, you are affirming your ability to make conscious choices and to create the life you really want to live. I know it can be challenging in a world that constantly pressures us to give in to our most immediate desires, but I want to remind you that you are a Stoic, strong and courageous woman. You have the power within you to resist temptations and to live with authenticity and determination. Remember that practicing conscious abstinence is not about denying your sexuality or repressing your desires, but about consciously choosing how you wish to express your sexuality and what kind of relationships you wish to cultivate. It is a decision that only you can make, based on your own understanding of yourself and your personal goals and aspirations. In short, Stoic wisdom offers invaluable guidance for making conscious decisions about sex and relationships. By cultivating self-control, detachment, and a focus on long-term goals, we can live fuller, more meaningful and authentic lives. Remember, every decision you make is an opportunity to move closer to the person you want to be. Thank you for joining us on this journey to a more Stoic and fulfilling life. I want to invite you to reflect on your own relationship with sex and conscious abstinence. What values and principles are most important to you? How can you live more authentically and in alignment with your true self? Remember that you are a powerful and capable woman, and that you deserve to live a life full of meaning and purpose. Ultimately, the decision to practice conscious abstinence is yours and yours alone. Trust your intuition and inner wisdom to guide you on this journey. Always remember that you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness, regardless of the choices you make regarding your sexuality. I encourage you to join me on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Together, we can learn and grow, create a community of strong and courageous Stoic women who inspire us to evolve.